Good afternoon, and welcome to episode 2 of Talking Bulldogs with me, Neil Baldock, and my brother Matt Baldock. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
And this episode, we are here to talk about estate agents not getting enough valuations, and one of their pains in their business. Um, and obviously the solution to that, which is effective marketing.
Sure.
So,
So
yeah,
just to recap, in this kind of series, we're going to go over what we believe are the seven pain points that all estate agency owners kind of face, right?
that's
Um,
right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. We've got a seven kind of step framework that we work with agents on, and obviously one of those common complaints is that they're just not getting enough valuations.
yeah. And ultimately, valuations are the lifeblood of the business. You can't sell what you haven't listed, and you can't list what you haven't valued.
Absolutely, yeah. So, really and truthfully, everything flows downhill for an estate agent from the number of valuations they've got, and therefore everything flows downhill from the number of leads they're generating.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Uh, the only thing, I suppose, the only caveat is if we're going to really delve into the pain point. So the pain is felt when they're not selling enough, right?
that's
And actually, there are some agents out there with loads of listings that are not selling enough, um, or some that are doing lots of valuations. So it's about a very simple one is I'm not getting enough valuations. We'll find that's one thing, or I'm doing lots of valuations, but I'm not listing enough. Well, that's kind of a pain point. Or while we're listing loads, we're not selling. So then you've got to look at things like, if you're listing a lot and not selling them, is your stock priced correctly? What is your selling strategy? I don't believe it's good enough to just chuck something on Rightmove and hope somebody phones you. And then also, if people are out doing lots of valuations but not listing a lot, it's twofold. It's A, you've got to look at the person going and your conversion rate, but also, are you going to the right valuations? Are you doing loads of free vals, which estate agents love, and you're just doing PR, 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 but not actually speaking to people that want to sell their houses?
yeah, quite right. I think there's I mean, the thing is, we could talk all day about valuations and what size. So I think if we focus on the people that just aren't getting enough valuations for now,
Sure.
and focus on how we can help them and what they can do and what they need to do. And I think, yeah, before we came on screen as such, you mentioned the all important word consistency. And what what do you mean by that? I mean,
Well, so I think again, just to go back to something else and annoy you slightly by talking about something that you haven't you haven't just asked me. I think we need like a big warning above this that says there is no silver bullet, right? And agents love that. So any agent there thinking, brilliant, I'm going to get told one thing, I'm going to go and list 20 houses tomorrow. It doesn't exist, and you all need to grow up and realize that. And that's about as blunt as I can be with it. It takes work to build a business, and part of that work is being consistent, being boringly consistent. So um, there is no point firing out one set of leaflets and then complaining you didn't get any valuations. There's no point doing one Facebook post. Do you see what I mean? You have to be prepared to put in the hard yards. A bit like, and this is slightly ironic, me saying this in my current shape, but there's no point going to the gym once and expecting a six pack. I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah. There's
listen,
no there's no overnight success. There's no instant results.
no,
Uh,
no, and you do. I mean, listen, mate. If we can correct that, you've dropped over a stone, right? And you haven't done that just by going to the gym once, have you? You've been consistently going, and I imagine you've been going even when you don't want to go and when you can't be asked.
well, yeah, that's right, and that's where the hard work comes in. Is when you really don't want to do it, and you still drag your ass down there. But I think sort of going
So,
back to what you said on there's no silver bullet. That's why in the marketing world they talk about a marketing mix, don't they? And there's not we're not going to tell people one thing today they can do to sort of revolutionise their marketing strategy. But I think it's important to talk about marketing because we've got a lot of people going going self-employed at the moment in the agency world, and I think what you forget when you're employed as an agent is that you're just doing the agency work, but you've actually got a head office doing your marketing for you, and that stuff is going on in the background. Yes, you might be asked to go out and drop a few leaflets yourself, and obviously, and we'll probably come on to this, but there's a lot of telesales working, phoning your database and generating valuations. But there's also a lot of marketing going on from sort of a head office level, which when you start your own business or become self-employed, all of a sudden you have to wear that hat as well.
Exactly. But the great thing is now in the world we're living with, the tech that's out there, you can do all of that very cost effectively and very quickly. So yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a few. I suppose. I mean, add anything, but maybe there's three types that we can talk about. So you've got kind of telephone work or good old fashioned estate agency, which we can talk about maybe towards the end. And then in terms of your actual canvassing as such, you've got physical. So be that a something physical you can hold, be it a letter, a leaflet, or a knock on a door, and then you've got digital, social media, or as I think it should just be called media. So there would be the three main points to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, why don't we start with like the digital marketing?
Okay.
Um, what's working?
So number one, you have to do it. And again, I'm not going to say anything massively groundbreaking here. I was having this conversation with Ben Madden on LinkedIn earlier today. You know, he's a big advocate of social media work, as are we. And I don't actually think social media is a word anymore. I think it's just called media. Most people seem to consume their news nowadays, you know, or via LinkedIn. Sorry, well, LinkedIn's one, but Facebook, Instagram. You know, there's a generation now that using TikTok as their search tool. You know, we're not massively au fait with that, but I think the number of things you can't ignore it anymore. And it seems strange that we're still having to tell people this. So you have to have an online presence. Okay. The way I always liken it is if I said to anybody, listen, I've got 100 people that own houses standing in a room. Do you want to go and talk to them? You think, yeah, that's a good idea. You've got that online. So you
Yeah.
don't have to go to the expense of hiring a hall and bringing people in. You can literally speak to hundreds or thousands of people at any point just by posting out on social media. And as I say, we have most of our success on Facebook and Instagram. So that's probably what I'll predominantly talk about. I know some agents doing huge numbers on TikTok and stuff, but I think find a lane you're comfortable in and then post consistently. You know, you have to be posting consistently, and it wants to be a nice mix. So there has to be value content in there. So people want to know what's going on in the market, right? So letting them know what's going on in your local market, let them know what's going on in your area, and then also let them know about the properties that you have for sale or for rent.
Yeah, definitely. It's people want stuff that's going to catch their attention, don't they? They do like looking at properties, but they also like hearing about what's happening in the market. They want educational content, just stuff that is going to spark their interest and make them actually spend a bit of time with you, either watching your video or reading through your blog. And I think that the important thing to say with that is this: it's free. You know, it's
Yeah.
organic. You've just got to spend your time doing it. And as you say, and I think it's a really important point, is the amount of people you can speak to just is like amplified through going on social media. But also, you record it once. It's your time leverage as well because you record that video once, and people could be watching that if you're posting it onto all your social channels plus upload it to your YouTube channel. People could be watching that years later, something that you recorded years earlier, and then all of a sudden it gets you a result. So um, I think, and the consistency part that we spoke about earlier really comes with the social media kind of work as well, doesn't it?
Or,
Because
or, or,
you've got to be, don't worry about who's watching it. We don't even bother to look at how many likes or views we get now, do we? We just do it and post it.
Well, I think, yeah, and you've got a couple of bits on that. So, number one, you've got the invisible audience. So you've got lurkers, if you like. They've got people that will watch all your stuff and never like and never comment. I remember doing we sold a house last year, and I'll never forget because as I did the valuation, as I left, the guy kind of pulled me to one side, gave me a pat on the shoulder, and said, "My wife really likes your stuff on Facebook. You should keep that up." And I was like, "Fucking hell, I've been doing it for 10 years." Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And the guy thought I just started, and I've never seen him like or comment on a post, but they'd obviously been watching. So you need to be consistent for a couple of reasons. Number one, the port the
Yeah,
actual
well,
media outlets, so Facebook, Instagram, that they'll like it. So if you post consistently, they're more likely to show it to people. But number two, it goes down to that the old adage of know, like, and trust, right? And
yeah.
if people see you enough, they'll obviously know you. I mean, actually, some will like you, some won't you, but that's great because you're building your tribe. There's no point trying to be all things to all people. So I know there's people that watch my stuff on Facebook and think, oh, not this dickhead again. But that's okay because we don't want to work with them because the people that really do like it, you're probably one of them. Um, and the trust part. So the more you're talking about it and you're building authority, and actually, because they're seeing you on a screen, it's a bit like you're on TV, and they actually think it gives you a higher level of authority. And then
That's good.
when you
You're in their pocket as well, actually. They pull
well,
you out of their pocket and start watching
yeah, and you're allowed to be in their pocket without getting arrested. So so when you actually knock on that front door, it's not hi. They go, oh, hey Matt, or hey Neil, how are you? And it's almost like they like you, and sorry, they know you, and then that's a massive benefit to you because if you're going in there and they feel like they know you, and then Joe Smith's going in there and they've never seen him before, you've got the advantage on that valuation to get the listing. So yeah, I think you need to be posting consistently, and you're right, a real mix of stuff. But it doesn't just have to. We're going through a phase at the moment in our industry where everything's about data. But I still maintain you're more of a local expert if you know that the fish and chip shop just changed hands and now it does decent fish rather than there's 1,000 red doors in the CM1 postcode. So use some data, great, but use some local knowledge as well. Speak about what's actually going on. If you're in the community, show that you're kind of just like them. You've got the same concerns about them. Kids go to the schools, you know what's going on, that kind of stuff, and people build a real big picture of you, and go from there.
Definitely, definitely. So let's move on. That's the kind of the easy win, the free stuff. And we always sort of say to people the last thing that should be cut when you're going to make cuts is your marketing budget. But I equally believe that you should be spending your money on stuff that's giving you a return. So let's talk about what's giving us a return at the minute on the digital marketing space. And really, that for us, that's been Google ads and also Facebook ads in terms of generating leads for us then to convert into valuations, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, we're doing really well on that. And again, we didn't, we spent our first lot on the first month, and not all the leads came in, and we are a bit like, but I think realistically, you've got to give any marketing you're going to try a minimum of 3 months. So I actually think you probably need to give it 6 months to get a real handle on how it's going. So again, when you're working, I know in another episode we're going to talk about finances, but when you're budgeting for marketing, don't just budget to do one month's worth of Google ads. You have to give these things time to get out there and work. But we all spend a lot of time online, and so you want to be in front of these people. So you want to be on Google. You want to be showing up when they Google. It's difficult to get there organically on Google, really. So you need to probably spend a bit of money. But as you say on Facebook or like an Instagram, yeah, you can get there. But you can also boost that by spending a bit of money and getting in front of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but the important thing really is when people are doing it again, everything should have a bit of a strategy behind it because otherwise it's just like spending money. That's where people go wrong. Really, there's
Yeah,
no thought process goes into it at all. No strategy. They just think, oh, I've heard I should do some Facebook ads, so I'll boost a post. I've heard I should do some Google ads, so I'll do it. And I don't know what I'm doing myself, but I'll do it because I want to keep the cost down. Whereas actually, we don't run our own Facebook ads and we don't run our own Google ads because we're not experts in that. So we actually invest money in experts who know what they're doing and can get us the return. And we tell them kind of what we want out of it and what we want to spend. And then they tell us, okay, well, this is sort of where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But I think, generating Google is obviously where, because there's two types of marketing as well. I think that's important to mention that some of the marketing is kind of building your data and building your database that you can nurture over a long time. And some of the
brand awareness.
brand awareness, and some of your marketing is kind of going to generate you quicker business. So I tend to find people that go on Google, they're searching for an estate agent in Chelmsford or an estate agent in Shropshire or whatever the case may be. They're looking for that service like right now. Whereas people on Facebook, we're kind of having to catch their attention and they might not be quite as ready in the journey, but you've got to give something away on Facebook, like a lead magnet, give away a free download, a guide, or something like that. Get them into your database, and then have a strategy to nurture them over time. And the reason I think it's important to think it through before you do it is because and we've made that mistake in the past. It's not that difficult to generate the leads when you're using the right strategies. But if you haven't got the people to follow it up or the tech involved to nurture that data, then there's not much point in having a lead that you're not going to follow up.
No, and that's a really kind of important point. I mean, I think maybe at the very end we should talk about tracking where your leads are coming from anyway, rather than keep. But there is no point spending money getting leads that you are not following up. And again, that's something that a lot of agents do. They'll spend all this money, get leads, and then they go, oh, you filled out a free valuation tool. Well, I'm not really thinking of moving that. Okay, well, that was a waste of time. Throw it away. That is not a waste of time. That is somebody with a house to sell in your area. You don't know,
Exactly.
you don't know what's going to happen to them today, tomorrow, next month, job wise, relationship wise, sadly, health wise. There are so many reasons people move, and you've got their details. So you have to have a good, robust follow up process. And you should be speaking to these people, even if you put them in for a year's time. There is never a reason, unless someone fundamentally says, don't ever phone me again, or they complete on a sale, not just agree a sale, they complete on a sale. There is no reason they shouldn't be in your nurture journey, both email and being verbally contacted. So, yeah, that's a real point to hammer home is don't spend money getting leads if you're not going to follow them up.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people mistake marketing. They don't really understand what it is. Essentially, marketing is there to generate you leads, and there isn't really a bad lead. Like people, we obviously all want the hot leads. We all want someone to ring up and say, "Can I have a valuation right now?" And yeah, there are strategies that kind of get you to that a little bit quicker, but there's no bad lead because, like you say, if someone's interested in the price of their house, you get their details, you've now got someone in your database to keep in touch with who is your target audience. So actually, the marketing's works, even though they're not quite ready yet. But then you have a system in place to kind of move them along the journey. And obviously, yeah, each thing we're talking about today, we could talk for hours on. So we're kind of only giving a bit of a kind of an overview here, but yeah, you can get into marketing as deep as you sort of want to go, really.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yeah, we've got the social media marketing, both paid and organic. We've got digital marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads, and then obviously there's the kind of the more old school stuff where we're putting printed material in front of people. So direct mail, actually
Yeah.
mailing directly into houses. What do you think about that?
We're having really good returns on that at the moment. So, um, when during the pandemic, when the market went bananas, I turned off all on market touting, for want of a better word. I will call it touting. So let's just call
Yeah,
it
yeah,
that. And I did really well with off market stuff. But actually, that's changed recently, and I think we're getting really good results. I think in the last 3 months, about 20% of our valuations came from stuff on market that I've been writing to. Um, so there's a couple of times obviously old fashioned print. So there's general leaflets. So if we just start with stuff, a lot
yeah,
of people don't do leaflets anymore. I have a bit of a feeling that you should almost go the opposite direction to everybody else. So we went through a phase where everyone was doing leaflets, and now nobody is because everyone's trying to do digital stuff.
yeah.
So if no one's doing leaflets, you can stand out by doing some. But again, we'll use the consistency word, and as we've found out to our detriment in our early days, it's better to leaflet 1,000 houses 10 times than 10,000 houses once, right?
Correct. Yeah, and also same area.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you want to start a campaign. So we usually work on 6 month cycles, same set of houses, once a month, every 6 months. And as I say, there used to be a time when you would get leaflets, and they get a bit lost in the noise. I have a feeling now it's not happening, so that might be something to look at. The other side is obviously writing to people. And I'm a massive Spectre fan, so we use Spectre. There are obviously other ones out there. And depending, if you don't have the money for that, you've got the time. So I don't have the time to handwrite and go and deliver there, but some agents have more time than the finances. I know agents at the higher end just only after a handful of properties, so they do it. So you can do it in different ways.
You can, yeah. I think the point is you can do it in so many different ways, but whether you're handwriting a bright yellow envelope, like some people like to do, or you're sending a letter from Spectre, you're ultimately using direct mail, aren't you? You're sending
Yeah,
someone a letter.
exactly. And again, so we're consistent. So again, before we would start recording, I was just saying to you, I've literally just come back from valuation. And the chap, he'd been abroad for 4 months. And when he came back, he said to me, I had 8 letters from you because
Right.
I send money every 2 weeks. And he said, so you're obviously keep, because my letter, because again, it's not with Spectre, it tracks how long you've been on the market, etc., in price movements, with, that kind of stuff. He goes, you've obviously been keeping a very close eye on my property. So that's yeah, fine. And then when I got back to the office, I've had an email from someone saying, as you've just said in your letter, we've been on the market for 3 months with no offers. I didn't know they had no offers. I've just checked and I've sent them 9 letters. So I am actually finding the sweet. It tends to be 6 to 8 really is what they have to get. I remember doing one recently where he had 4 from me, but I am finding number sevens turning up quite a lot in the amount of letters I'm sending to people before they actually kind of call you out. And it's easy again. I could have sent people 3 and gone, oh, well, they're obviously not interested. But you keep going, keep going, and keep going, and the results will come.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I think it's interesting because when we sort of consult with agents, you kind of they say, "Oh, I'm not getting enough valuations," and your first question is, "Look, what marketing are you doing, and what are you doing to get valuations?" And they'll say, "Well, I'm phoning my database, and I've rinsed the whole database, and I've got no one else to phone." Which is always hard to believe because there's always someone to
Yeah,
phone.
I mean, yeah, that's never true, but yeah,
But
they.
but equally, you kind of say, well, you're not doing any marketing then. So, or you speak to somebody and they say, oh, yeah, I'm just running Facebook ads. And, yeah, to be honest, I'm getting leads that aren't converting straight away. But this is the whole reason why there's no point in, well, there is a point, but it's not really the right thing to do one thing. You have to have this mix of, you have to build a marketing machine really that is all kind of intertwined. Like we're driving people to our website, the Facebook pixel picks them up, and then they're retargeted with Facebook ads. So all our leaflets are designed to either get someone to call us or to visit our website. Because if they don't call us, at least then they're on our track. You know what I mean? So, and again,
Yeah.
that's a complex subject to sort of go into detail on, but you've got to have all these different strategies running.
But even with something, just one thing. So like direct mail, right? You have to have a marketing mix of direct mail. So with direct mail, I believe so everyone's okay. I'm writing places on the market, great, but you could also be writing places off the market. So again, so
Yeah,
we do on behalf of buyer campaigns. So our policy here is to be a complete move agent. So I act as a buying agent for our sellers. So it's all well and good selling their property, but if they've got nowhere to go, I find out what they want, and then we write to properties that we think will suit them there, but also leveraging your own stock. So every time you take a property on the, so for instance, if I take a 4-bedroom house on the market, for argument's sake, £600,000, I send that to everybody on the market um, that is up on the market around £400,000 because that tends to be the next move. I also send it to people that are off the market that we use the Spectre propensity to sell that we think might be looking to sell and are in that price bracket. So I'm listing it and I'm sending it to people saying, hey, we've just taken this for sale. Would you like to come and look at it? Then you agree a sale on it. We've just agreed a sale on it again to on market and off market. And then you can do the same with exchange and completion. So actually, one property you can get 4 means of communication out there in direct mail. But again, if someone's watching this thinking, fucking hell, they keep saying about all these things to do, there's lots to do, but it's all very simple. I do all of that within about a 10-minute space. As you've just said, Google ads, Facebook ads, the pixel, we give that to someone else to do. Me and you do all our organic stuff, but
yeah.
we give that to someone else to do. So again, if you go back very quickly to digital, organic and paid, fine, we do someone else does that. Direct mail, a mix of it. There's, so we're saying off market, on market, leverage your properties, fine, but use tech that, I say, that takes me like 10, 15 minutes. So there's you're right, it needs a whole mix, but it doesn't have to be really time consuming and difficult.
Absolutely, yeah. And it doesn't have to be really expensive either. And that's the thing. You've got to get the mix right. Um, and that's where, tracking it, and we'll come on to that in probably another one of our episodes, but sort of recording everything. But you've got to make sure you're getting a return on your investment, because and that's the thing I think people need to realize. Marketing isn't, or it shouldn't be, spending money. It is an investment. You should be
Oh, yeah.
spending X amount and you get a Y return. And once you work out what works and all the things we've discussed work, then well, I'll just spend more money on it because it's a no-brainer then.
Exactly, exactly. And just very quickly before we move on, I'll give a top tip, if you like, for direct mail. Write your own bloody letters.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a ball ache. And I mean, I think I took probably a day out, and I think I probably put off doing it for like a month and a half. And then I took a day out and I just wrote, because we said Spectre, obviously there's Home Search, there's Sprift, there's others out there. They will all give you their template letters. And if you use them, don't get, every other agent is going to use them as well. So these homeowners are going to pick up letters, and we go back to the know, like, and trust, and they're going to go, that's the same, the same person's written this. Take the time, work out the metrics when you want to send the triggers that you want to send out, and then write your own letters in your own tone of voice. Because again, going back to the mix, what we want is someone to see. Let's just take me, for example, me talking on Facebook, and go, well, that's Matt. Then they get a letter from me, and it reads as I talk. And then when I turn up at their house, I talk as I've written and as done. So it's consistency, not just in the amount of work you do, but consistency in tone of voice.
Yeah, that's right. Because ultimately, that's your brand. So you're actually building your brand, because the tone of voice and everything comes with your brand as well. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think we could talk all day about it. It's such a complex subject. And one thing I was just thinking is, some people might have started their agency and or sitting listening to this and thinking, bloody hell, I didn't realize there was so much to do. Like, I didn't realize some of this sounds a bit complex, Facebook ads and pixels and all this. And as we've said, if you don't know how to do it, get an expert to do it, or you can learn about it. We've got this fantastic thing called YouTube, which you can spend as long as you want watching videos on all of this kind of stuff. But I think that's important for people to realise. If they don't know about it, if you're going to run your own estate agency business, this is one of the key things to, if not become an expert in, become a semi-expert that knows enough to be able to direct the experts to do the things you want them to do.
Yeah, all day long. Yeah, 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 100%.
So yeah, that's a really interesting subject. As I say, I feel like we could talk all day about it.
Should we just cover off the third one, the old-fashioned agency?
100%. Yeah. Well, just interestingly on that, because I was just thinking about this. That sort of it is marketing, but it's also not, because the old-fashioned agency is almost where you've already got the lead, isn't it? So you've got you've had their lead somehow through, whether it's inquiring about a property or a leaflet in the past or a Facebook ad or whatever, and then you've got to kind of nurture them. So we call it, people call it prospecting, don't they? But it sort of sits in the middle a little bit between the sales and the marketing.
It does, but it's sense, because again, we've called it old-fashioned agency, but again, I don't think you should do it in the old-fashioned way. So old-fashioned agency was, hello, Mrs. Jones, have you sold your house yet? Would you like a free valuation?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It should really be, hey Dave, just letting you know I've sold a house around the corner from you. This is kind of the activity we've got on it. You're interested to see how your house would sit at the moment. Again, it's giving people information. So we, for instance, we've sold an apartment on the ground floor, and I valued one above it, didn't come to market. As soon as we sold the ground floor, I just wanted them to just not say, are you ready to sell yours yet? Just we did get that one away in the end. This is kind of the number we got for it. If you need anything, let us know. And just updating people on what's going on in the market. And you can do that verbally. And you can also do that, obviously, I believe, as a bare minimum, your database should be getting an email once a month. But I think there is so much money in people's databases
Mm.
that, again, you sell someone a house and you forget about them, but it's not just people that we all love the buyers, right? The buyers get someone sells you, pays a big check, and they get nothing. The buyer gets the flowers, the little box, and that, and
Yeah, yeah.
for some reason people forget to contact their sellers. So we have an anniversary. So every year an email goes out to our buyer and our seller, congratulating them on a year anniversary in their new home. So we'll do that. But the other thing to remember, I think the one bit, and it goes back to when someone says I've got no one to phone, is if 5 years ago you registered 100 buyers, let's say you registered 100 buyers and you sold houses to five of them, right?
Yeah.
You're probably phoning those five buyers. If you're really good, you might be phoning the five sellers. You're phoning 10 people. But what you're forgetting is there's 95 people that didn't buy through you, but were looking to buy in your town. So let's say 70 of them did buy. Okay. So there's 70 people that bought a property that you're not talking to. So again, they should be in your database. But if you're really going to sit there and tell me, oh, Neil, I haven't got a computer, so I haven't got any money for Facebook ads. I've got no money for leaflets. Um, for some reason, I'm stuck in my office and I can't go and hand deliver anything. And I don't have a phone to make a Facebook video. And I phoned everyone that bought or sold from me. Phone those 95 people that registered to buy and didn't buy through you. Was somewhere in there is somebody that owns houses in your town and would just like to know what's going on in the market. Again, it's not, can I sell your house? It's, here's what's going on. Do you know anyone else I can help? Can I help you with anything?
Yeah, definitely. It's the same approach with people that are going to go door knocking, isn't it? You
Yeah,
don't, or you shouldn't be knocking on the door and saying, "Oh, I see you've been for sale for 3 months, you haven't sold. Can I have a go?" You should be saying, "Oh, I can see you've been on the market for a while. Just wanted to introduce myself. We've sold a lot around here. Can we? Or we're just wondering whether you're looking to buy a property in the local area where you're looking to move to. See if we can. You were offering to help them, not knocking up their door and saying, can I sell your house for you?"
exactly. No, exactly. Everything's about nurturing, and it's any form of marketing really. Is about that. It's all nurture, nurture, nurture. Can I help? Value, 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 and then people can do. And the best form, your marketing's doing well when people are actually coming to you and just saying, "Hey, I've seen your stuff. Can I have a valuation? Can you
Exactly.
come in, or can you come and sell my house?" They're the best ones when you get that. But
Well, they're
there is,
perfect. That's actually called attraction marketing. That's what they call that, and that is what you will do there is put the hard yards in at the start, and years later you'll start reaping those rewards, and then you'll get the buzz from it because you'll then realise, yeah, all this stuff we've been doing for so long is now worth it.
yeah, no, exactly. I just think just to cover off a couple of bits because I know we've been going for about half an hour. Um, on the marketing, the other flip side is when people I find, and we've made this mistake in the past, definitely, and we're really here to help others learn from our mistakes. When your marketing starts to work and you start getting lots of leads in and doing well,
Yeah,
don't stop your marketing.
don't turn it off. Yeah,
Don't stop your marketing. If you're not marketing, you're essentially closing down, right? So just keep marketing and everyone goes, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Make time for it. If you put an hour in your diary, and if it was a viewing, you wouldn't miss it. So don't miss it if it's your marketing. But yeah, do not stop marketing even when it's going well. Obviously, you should have systems. So again, I mean, we can help people with this, but I know we'll have another episode about systems and processes. But we've spoken quite sporadic. We've kind of segmented it, but it's been a bit sporadic. But it's always very easy. Everyone knows the word funnel. You put everything into a system. You do these things on these days, and these results happen. But the other thing I just really wanted to hammer home is people have to track where the valuations go. So if you're doing
oh
marketing
yes,
and
yeah.
you're getting the valuations coming in, you have to, your team, aside from the address and the time you're meant to be there, I think it's the third most important thing you have to know is why has that person phoned you? Because if you know why they're phoning you, you know what's working, you know where to spend your money.
100%. We sort of we spend a lot of time drumming that into our team, don't we? And it's kind of like second nature for us now that it's one of the first questions you ask is just out of interest who recommended us, or just out of interest where did you find out about us? Because yeah,
Just
it's a
sorry,
key
just stop
piece
you.
of information.
Just stop. Sorry, mate, to talk over you because you're so used to it. You've said that quite quickly, but I think that's a real top tip because again, a lot of people feel awkward saying, what, and you should really never use the word why in many things, but why have you phoned us? Because they think, well, why wouldn't I phone you? So what you said then, oh yeah, who recommended us? Can you let me know who recommended us? Because we like to say thanks. That's a really nice way to ask because they'll either tell you who recommended them or they'll go, well, no, we didn't get recommended. We found you on Google or we got a leaflet.
Yeah,
But then also you're planting the seed that you get recommended a lot. And then that again makes you more trustworthy.
yeah, no, exactly. It's just one of the most important questions you can ask, and well, like I say, if people do feel awkward about it, I think they shouldn't. But there's easy ways to make it a lot less awkward of a conversation, like you say. Um, so yeah, I think that's probably time to wrap that one up for today. We'll probably, to be honest, do more episodes on marketing because as we've kind of gone through this, I feel like we could have done the whole session on like one
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
on each piece of it and each piece of the marketing strategy. So um, let's do that. We'll do that in a few other episodes.
Yeah, no, most definitely. But again, anybody needs any help with this, reach out to me or Neil, both of us. We'll happily, let you know. Importantly, what hasn't worked for us in the past, but also obviously what is working.
Definitely. Right. Good chat as always. A bit of talking Bulldogs, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.